So we talked with the team from the Kentucky Derby Festival last week about this year's festival, and one of the bigger festival events, one of the more participating events is the mini marathon. So many of the people who participate in that event, they don't consider themselves runners. They're doing it for personal accomplishment and for purpose.
If the mini or one of the many spring races maybe are one of your big goals this year, the Louisville Running Company says now is definitely the time to start, and the running community is excited to welcome you.
So I've got Michael Clemons here from Louisville Running Company. If you don't recognize him by name, you might recognize his silhouette running through your neighborhood because, Michael, you ran, 3,000 miles last year, a lot of that through different neighborhoods around Louisville.
I think I've definitely made my way through pretty much every city street around Louisville. So I will definitely dub myself the unofficial mayor of Louisville running.
Hey, I love self-appointed titles, and I think it fits. You're from Louisville Running Company, obviously the founder of that. Talk a little bit about what that is for people who might be unfamiliar.
Yeah, so Louisville Running Company was started in December of 2019 as a small business to support local races here in Louisville, but also throughout the country. Over the past 10 years, I've had experiences working big events such as the Marathon Olympic Trials, the New York City Marathon, the Chicago Marathon, all the way down to a lot of small local 5Ks here in the Louisville community. And in 2019, decided to start Louisville Running Company to be a race management and a race support company for the people of Louisville, to support runners of all backgrounds, of all abilities, to make sure that our city stays active and does what we can to support everybody along their active running journey.
And that's a big part about of why I wanted to talk to you today. You said runners of all abilities, and I know how important inclusion is. And so I was thinking, we've got all these spring races coming up. The one that really stands out to me is the Kentucky Derby Festival Half Marathon, because I know so many people run that who don't consider themselves runners. They're running for a reason, running for a purpose. So I want to dive in with you for those people who don't consider themselves to be runners, and they want to participate in some of these spring races that are just really fun to be part of. What can those people start doing right now to get themselves in a position to participate in those races?
So first, it always amazes me when I'm talking to people out in the Louisville community and they're like, well, I'm not a runner. I've only done a couple 5Ks or a half marathon. And I want to just scream at them, you're a runner. You are a runner. You can do this. It doesn't matter how often you run, how far you run, how fast you run. You can be a walker. You are a runner, though. You are a member of the Louisville running community. Beyond that, I would say let's start with attainable goals. Don't set out a goal right away to run a marathon. Start with a mile. Then maybe after a week, you move up to 2 miles. And then you work your way up from there. Maybe you start where you're walking part of it and then you're running part of it. Maybe you start where you're jogging a lot of it along the way. You don't have to start with huge goals. Work your way up to those goals. And another really important thing is to have accountability. Have people in your life that are supporting you along the way, whether that's people you can train with. We have a lot of amazing running groups in Louisville. The Louisville Running Company website, louisvillerunningcompany.com, has a lot of different running groups, when they meet, where they meet, free opportunities. You also have opportunities with local running stores to get involved with a running group so you have other people to hold you accountable.
I can vouch for the advice that Michael just gave. I ran my first half marathon not too long ago, and this is exactly the conversation that you and I had last year. Start with a mile, walk it if you have to, and then run part of it. And my 1 mile became 2, and then my 2 miles became 3. I remember our conversation. I was like, hey, 3 miles happened a lot easier than I expected it to happen. And then lo and behold, a couple months later, it was a half marathon. So you do know what you're talking about. You mentioned your website. I want to make sure people know about ways where they can learn more and get more information if they do want to put themselves in a position to participate in some of these races. So you mentioned local running company, your website. I know there's several different running groups out there, but you link to those on your website?
A link to all of those different running groups that are in the free ones that are in our community. That's another big thing that I really want to emphasize is you don't have to spend a ton of money to be a runner. I think that's a great thing about our sport. It is inclusive of everybody.
Thanks so much for your expertise. We'll make sure people get out and follow your website and also your social media. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Eric. Look forward to seeing everybody out at the races this spring.